Hello and welcome everybody to Proving Grounds Summer 2021, the culmination of an entire summer worth of work from all the players that we're about to watch on stage. This is where developing talent get to prove their worth on their way to that LCS stage, and we get to bring you all the action. I'll be your play-by-play for the day. You can call me Kangas, and I'm joined by the storyteller of Amateur, aka coach of Miami University of Ohio, aka currently D2 with only 12 games played. Not too bad, Cubby. How've the ranked games been going for you?
We had a little bit of free time between Academy and Proving Grounds. Had to, try and reclaim that GM rank of support. No way in hell I'm going to get it, but, we can at least try. Getting up to D2 is all right. Braum, pretty good right now. That does benefit me quite a bit because I have not nearly as good a hands as the players we're going to be seeing today, so...
True, and you also known Braum #1 at one point. What, season 5, season 6?
I feel like we're supposed to be building up the tournament, but if you want to build up me, I
just want to build up you to start us off because you're going to be providing a lot of the insights for the players. But you're right, the tournament itself is what's on the horizon right now. Proving Grounds, 16 teams coming in, and only one will walk away the champions. So let's talk about how we got here, Cubby, because it was a long summer. There was a lot of events going on, starting off with the Academy team. So I know a lot of people watching right now, you'll probably be aware of the Academy system. LCS orgs all have an Academy team that competes at the Academy League level. 10 teams. We switched to best of 2 formats for the summer, and then the top 6 made it to playoffs, standard single elimination playoffs from there. But if you made it to playoffs, you automatically qualified for Proving Grounds itself, and 1st through 6th seeds are based on the top of Academy. But there's 10 more teams. So how did they all make it in, Cubby?
That was through the amateur circuit. Last split, we had 6 tournaments. This split, we had 4. Teams needed a break going from tournament to tournament for a week, which could help teams in slumps. That was a big piece of feedback that Riot did listen to. We ended up with 4 tournaments, and the big story for the amateur teams that are coming in is Wildcard Red won the 3 Tier 2 tournaments they were able to participate in. So they weren't able to play in UGP. That's where we found our last 6 spots, where the 10 teams that have already qualified for Proving Grounds did not participate. There were 6 slots open to qualify, though, through the Tier 1, and we actually saw a pretty big upset that was led by one of the teams that we're seeing right off the bat today, Supernova, taking down both CLG Academy, knocking them out of Proving Grounds, and Maryville University, the top collegiate program that we have in the country, who took 2nd this year in CLAW. Neither of those teams are a part of Proving Grounds. Instead, it is Supernova, one of the most storied organizations that we have in NA Amateur, qualifying for their first Proving Grounds. They failed to make it in the last split.
And so the top 4 teams from the Tier 2 qualifiers made it in, and then the bottom 4 Academy teams did go into UGP. So in case you're not aware of the formatting, that's how it worked out. There's only one Academy team that did not make it in. Gubby already mentioned CLG Academy, Supernova, who is about to be our first match of the day. They were the ones that knocked it out, but there were 7 amateur teams that qualified in. So 9-7 split for summer, a little bit better than back in the spring here. So amateur teams, amateur orgs already showing that summer might be even more competitive than we saw back in the spring. A reminder that in the spring, it was an amateur team that won the entire event, not an Academy team, no org. And we do have some of their alumni here in this event as well. So exciting stuff. We just wanted to do some table setting for the event as a whole because the scope of it, it's been insane. There's been a lot of games, a lot of tournaments. And if you look at the number of games played this summer compared to the number of games played in the spring, night and day.
We talked about Riot listening to the amateur scene, but also the Academy scene, going from 9 regular season games to 36 to best of 2s, and also having the Academy playoffs where Team Liquid reigned supreme, winning that best of 5 that went the distance in the finals against C9. They were the top 2 teams representing Academy in Proving Grounds in the last split. They are the top 2 teams this split, just in a different order, and I know that Team Liquid coming in with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, given the fact that they did go 0-4 in a very tough quadrant of the bracket that included being upset by Barrage. Barrage was acquired by Resolve. They are back in this tournament, and they are actually in the same seed, the 15 seed, where they beat Team Liquid. But also, they did face No Org in that quadrant as well. They didn't play against them, but that was just a really tough quadrant. I know they bottomed out, and for a team that won Northern Arena, was 2nd in Academy regular season for the spring, and now won the Academy Summer Playoffs. They're coming in with a little bit extra to prove on top of their shoulders, and we're going to have to see if they can do that, because that is our first game of the day today.
Redemption arc. But I like where your head's at, Kabi. Before we dive into today's match, let's look at the schedule as a whole. Let's take a look at all the teams that will be competing throughout the next couple of weeks here. It's upper bracket, and then if you lose the first round, you go into the lower bracket. So we're starting with all upper bracket. Right off the bat, we'll have Team Liquid Academy versus Supernova today, and then Cloud9 Amateur versus AoE, Immortals Academy, Dignitas Academy, and Flying Quest Academy versus Zeus. We'll also be watching that Immortals Academy versus Dignitas Academy match as our second match of the day. But there's another side of the bracket as well. So imagine that's the left side. Now this is the right side. Cubby, walk me through, of course, the next 8 teams.
I think that there are 2 really tough quadrants in the middle. One would be, and they include 7 out of the 8 Academy teams. The one that I'm looking at here, 100 Academy, TSM Academy, EG Academy, and GGA. One of those teams, with how the lower bracket works out, is guaranteed the bottom 4. That's really tough, because I think those are 4 really good teams that we have. And also, something we have to think about, given the bracket, is that because, curiously enough, the 3 teams that we are sending to Worlds this year are 3 of the top 4 teams that we have in Academy. TL and C9 are the 1 and 2 seed for Academy. I believe 100 Thieves are the 4 seed in this tournament as well. So that actually leads to it being rather difficult, because we do have roster changes, because Tenacity and Kenvi, 2 of the most promising young players that we have in the Academy scene, are actually traveling with 100 Thieves LCS team to boot camp in Europe. So that has caused roster changes, as 2 members of 100 Next are actually stepping into 100 Academy. Gamsu, yes, formerly of Samsung Blue, formerly of Dignitas Fnatic, an Overwatch League champion. He's back playing League of Legends. And also Chad Jungle, someone that was plucked directly out of solo queue this year to play on 100X, but is evolving to be a very talented jungler that we have in the ecosystem as well. Yet another good jungler that we have in this ecosystem. They both get the chance to play on that main squad. Whereas Dinka and Panda are coming in for 100X. And the last roster change we actually do have today, it is Supernova, as Clyde is stepping in for Chow once again. This is a change that actually happened last split.
Third time.
Yeah, the 3rd time that Clyde is stepping in for Supernova. The 2nd time he replaces Chow. But this is still going to be flexible, as they have Rovex, who is that mid lane sub, and if he does sub into support, you know you're going to get a set of strat that has Rovex playing a carry like a Yasuo or something crazy like that.
Yeah, if you are familiar with the UGP games and matches that Supernova played in, they had some crazy drafts in the bottom lane whenever they put in Rovex. Yasuo with Senna lane, interesting to say the least. Well, let's dive into the matchup then, Gubby, because teams are getting ready to hop into pick and ban here. So we have Team Liquid Academy versus Supernova to start off the day. You already introed Clyde, so let's talk about Supernova first. What do we expect from this roster coming into Proving Grounds as the 16th seed? The first time that Supernova as an org is actually qualifying for Proving Grounds, because they were snubbed back in the spring.
It may be the first time that they are in Proving Grounds, but this is an org that has been a part of Scouting Grounds, has been a part of the NA amateur scene for so long. And even Team Liquid, Shankins and Tactical are both Supernova alums. In fact, 14 out of the other 75 players that are playing in this event, this including Supernova's roster, have all been at Supernova at one point in time. It's almost 20% of the players in the tournament. So if you don't believe that Supernova is a breeding ground, a training grounds for these players to kind of take that next step, they've been doing this for years. And the fact that they qualified for this tournament, we have a brand that we're so familiar with in the amateur scene, is great. And they're also displaying some pretty impressive young talents on this iteration of Supernova, I'd say, this split as well.
They've been around forever, and when you've been an org for this long, consistently fielding rosters that are putting players up into the Academy and LCS ecosystems, you got to tip your hat to an org like Supernova. And then, of course, making it into Proving Grounds. Now, yes, as the 16th seed, so technically eking their way in, but still, they took down an Academy team to get here. They took down Maryville to get here. Pretty tough road. So now as we bring it back over to Team Liquid Academy's side, do they need to be worried here, looking at Supernova, saying, okay, this is an amateur team that knocked out one of the Academy teams in UGP?
I mean, for Team Liquid, this team, they are the top dogs that are coming into this tournament. They are coming off of winning an Academy championship, which for Team Liquid itself, that's quite a story too. That is their first Academy championship they've ever acquired as an organization. And last summer, they took 10th in Academy. Now they have won this turnaround for Team Liquid as an organization at the hands of Spawn, at the hands of the players that they have brought in, and the players that they've kept, looking at players like Jenkins and Armeo. It's really paid off for TL, and this is a roster, and I caught up with Harry before the matches today, the mid laner for TLA, and I think the one word that really stuck out to me that Harry brought up is trust. This team, they have so much trust built amongst each other in the 5 players that we have today. Team Liquid have been blessed with some good subs, Dokla and Inori, who both had to step in when Jenkins and Armeo were having that time in the LCS stage. But we've seen Jenkins and Armeo, with that extra experience on the big stage, really level up now playing in Academy. And I know that talking with Ayla as well, when they first got back together, this 5-man roster, he said the boys are back. And that's really what it feels like, because they get along, they do things inside and outside of the game. There's a lot of trust built among these 5 members, and we see that not only with their interactions and interviews, but also on the Rift. And I think that's what really has helped level up this team going into the summer, and what's going to make them the top dogs that we aren't expecting the bottom 4 this time.
Definitely not,
Yeah.
especially with their run through the bracket. I think they should be very happy to see Supernova as their first opponents. Yes, Supernova, maybe reputation as the Academy killers. You know, they did take down CLG Academy, but Team Liquid Academy, very different team if you look at the standings at the end of the Academy season. But I'm hearing that we're ready to hop into pick and ban here. So, Cubby, we get to see what these teams are brewing up for game number 1. It's been a while since Team Liquid Academy has actually played a game. They were in the finals for Academy, but they've had a couple of weeks off here. Supernova as well around the same time period. So when you have a couple weeks off after weeks and weeks of competing, some teams take that as a mental reset. Some teams double down and really put their practice to the test here. Let's see which one or which strategy Academy for Team Liquid and Supernova went. I'm just saying words at this point. So, Cubby, let's talk about the pick and ban. We got Rise and Tristana banned away from Team Liquid Academy, and Kennen taken off the table from Supernova. No surprise, as it is Jenkins' signature pocket pick.
Not only are they throwing bans at Jenkins, now taking away the GP as well, but also Strumpus. This is a player who has had a stint on FlyQuest Academy, has been playing in the amateur scene for quite a while, and is a very good mage player and is known for his Rise. Also the Tristana that is targeting both Strumpus and Lynx, as they have flexed that as recently as UGP. But the Ziggs takeaway, this is something that Yawn hasn't played nearly as much, as Yawn and TL have been very focused on being an Aphelios team, playing defensive supports and making sure to support Yawn in this very impressive team fighting. Whereas Supernova definitely opts for the Varus more often. So I'm curious to see now if Team Liquid end up taking that trade, setting up for something like an Aphelios as Thresh is available, but instead, more focus going on to the mid lane, more focus at denying another pick from Strumpus. Going to be that first pick LeBlanc coming in for Team Liquid Academy.
And Team Liquid Academy, they weren't necessarily the identity of this team throughout the season. It was hard to really put a thumb on because, again, the roster swaps that would happen often. But Harry in particular had a very strong playoff performance. So this is now doubling down, saying, okay, we're going to keep riding that momentum going forward. But it does leave up a strong duo here. Thresh can be paired with a lot of different hyper carries. Aphelios is one that teams like to pair with it. We could even maybe see something like a more late game focused Jinx, but either way, that Thresh locked in right off the bat for Supernova, and maybe they go for the Akshan. It is enabled for this tournament.
Akshan is enabled. I have talked to a few coaches. We don't expect to see Akshan, as I've heard that teams are still kind of figuring out how to implement him. But instead, Strumpus going back to something that's rather tried and true for him in the Azir. So definitely Supernova already setting up for that team fighting, taking the defensive Thresh, taking that Azir. Also, I think the Azir is being selected here because one of Armeo's favorite champions, one of the champions he's been most successful at, is that Trundle. And so by taking a little bit of mobility in the mid lane, they prevent Armeo from going for something like this, as there are very different jungle pools coming into this this matchup. Maddie, his most played jungler throughout Amateur, is actually Lilia. He is an insane Lilia player. And so if there is a Trundle or something defensive taken here, that would be an angle that Supernova could go for the Lilia. And I think that's why they're holding off on that jungle pick, trying to make sure that Maddie doesn't get a good setup for Lilia, because that is a champion that Supernova really is one of the only teams that plays that champ in the tournament. Maddie does play it very well. So Team Liquid respecting that, trying to navigate it instead, just going to go for the defensive Braum pick.
Defensive Braum instead, maybe pressure Supernova to grab that Lilia early if they want it, but no, Supernova They go for the J4 instead. So they want a jungler right now, but it will be something to compare a little bit better with AD damage for the AP that they already have packing in the mid lane.
I am actually surprised they didn't go for a bot laner there, because now things like the Aphelios, things like the Jinx can now be taken away by the side of Team Liquid. And if I'm Supernova, I think you have to pay some respect to Armeo's champion pool. His two most played champions are Trundle and Nocturne. So Trundle is being denied already. J4 does have a decent matchup into the Nocturne, so not sure if we're going to see that denied as well, but could take away something like a Diana if you wanted to, something else that Armeo has shown great success on. Whereas Team Liquid Academy, we talked about the Aphelios and the Jinx, but Lynx, more of a supportive bot laner for Supernova, so instead targeting out his Ashe, which is the most played throughout the 4 tournaments that he has played in amateur leading up to this event.
So they want to get a strong matchup for this bottom lane. I wouldn't be surprised if that Aphelios ban came out too. I feel like that's going to be the primary focus here from Team Liquid Academy, even if it's not necessarily into Lynx's preferred champ pool. But here we go, the Xin Zhao. I was wondering if we would see a Xin Zhao ban, because it is still very strong right now. And it's kind of surprising it took this long for that to come through here. We're trying to pinch Armeo's champ pool a little bit more, leaving that Nocturne up in case he wants to go for it. Armeo also, I mean, even throughout the summer, would even play things like Sejuani too. Don't know if that pairs nicely with their comp currently, but maybe Supernova just go for the Aphelios themselves. It's on the table. You just lock it in, because the Renekton was the final ban from TLA.
I think that Renekton ban might be setting Jenkins up for a blind Camille. This is something that, it does sound bold. It is a little bit bold, but this is something that Jenkins has actually more recently has picked up, and his Camille play has been nothing short of impressive on the top lane. We talked about how Jenkins and Armeo, it feels like they've leveled up a little bit since their LCS experience. I'd say that's something that Jenkins has really busted out, that has looked very impressive and would be good this game into Aphelios, into Azir, and then denying that combo away from J4. So a lot of single target damage coming out from Team Liquid with the poke from both LeBlanc and Varus, and now that second Q from Camille doing all that true damage. And we'll see how Armeo rounds it out in the jungle. Could be a Sejuani pick. It is a throwback for the J4 matchup, but something that Armeo actually has played quite a bit this split, and you do have that melee carry top laner to try and pair it with.
I was also thinking potentially Viego, but okay, the Kindred is the option. They want a marksman in the jungle. Now, when I think of Armeo, this is still a champion that I think kind of matches the slower jungling play style, not necessarily going for these insane early games, but is it defensible enough with the solo lanes that they've drafted for themselves here?
I think the tough part's going to be the fact that Emperor's Divide can knock people off Lamb's Respite. Now we get the last counter pick, Cozy, flashing Jax, but instead going to be that Jace for Cozy. Someone who, fun fact, selfishly, I did want to see Akali get played in this series. Jenkins is an insane Akali player. Cozy, also an Akali one-trick on the ladder at one time, but has really evolved his play since then, and is a carry top laner for Supernova. One of the big changes of their identity from last split to this split is the fact that Pavel was very much a supported top laner. Cozy is a carry top laner, and that has worked out well for Supernova. As we round things out here, Kangas, I am actually curious. Team Liquid, I think that they do have a lot of early priority to try and help this Kindred. I think that's the idea behind it, but Supernova is definitely set up for something that, if they are granted the 5v5 where Hope doesn't connect from TL at first, they do have a comp that can contest in the big team fights that Supernova like to go for.
I'd like the LeBlanc and the Varus in particular to help back up this Kindred. They can both get priority in their lanes when they need to, but the problem is where I'm starting to scratch my head a little bit is that maybe Botside can't quite get those scuttle controls for Team Liquid Academy. It's going to come down to Harry. If this LeBlanc can, roam to help match his Kindred while you're going for those marks, while you're trying to get to them, because it's scary to be in a jungle against a J4 and a Jace in the top lane that will be pushing in as well. But I think if anybody's going to pull off this top lane matchup, it would be Jenkins. This player, again, has LCS experience. If you were watching LCS throughout the year, yeah, I mean, he got subbed in a couple of games and impressed a lot of people, and now we get to see Jenkins in Proving Grounds. Game number 1, we're loaded onto Summoner's Rift here, Cubby, and already, nice sidestep from Jan right there. These teams showing their early game prep here. Supernova went for the invade on the bottom side, don't find anything for it, but this is it. This is the kickoff, Cubby. I've been excited all week leading into it. I didn't even get enough sleep last night, so I'm pounding my coffee right now, but Proving Grounds has begun, everybody. Supernova, the 16th seed versus Team Liquid, the 1st seed. They won LCS Academy in the summer after having a disappointing end to the Proving Ground in the spring, and this is the redemption tour from Team Liquid Academy. Supernova, the heart of amateur. You said it, around 20% of the players participating in this tournament, not even on the current roster, have been on a Supernova roster in the past. So as we take a look at the early game, Cubby, what do we need to be paying attention to? Where do your eyes immediately go?
Well, my eyes are immediately going to this late invade onto the Jarvan, trying to take advantage of that early power that is range from Kindred and Braum, as they're going to try and push Jarvan way out of the top side as Armeo out for blood early, trying to deny as many camps as possible, and because they have the Braum, because they have the double range, they will win this level 1. This will be a very good start for Kindred.
Interesting play there from Team Liquid Academy. I like it. A late invade to kick off Proving Grounds. And it's working. They push away Maddie back to the top side. Now J4, entire clear is going to be delayed, but Armeo is spotted on a ward, so I'm curious what Maddie's decision is going to be after this. Do you try and just go for a vertical jungle and get out of here? Is Jenkins just going to solo kill Cozy level 1? Almost gets him, but Cozy's actually trading back here. A lot of action early on.
Looks like the response from Maddie is going to be to go red to blue, so we have a split map scenario. Something that... because Team Liquid do have that Varus and the Blanc, feel like it's comfortable to get the early games, but also this is Jenkins' comfort zone, right? Usually him playing top with little to no resources. Jenkins does do very well, abnormally well, compared to a lot of other top laners that we have in Academy, so taking advantage of that, and Jenkins doing alright in a matchup that isn't great early, forcing Maddie to come up and hover Cozy in case Jenkins decided to go in again.
And also, this is Cozy's preferred matchup. This was the R5 Jace pick for Supernova. We'll have to keep track of the laning phase, how well things go. Death Sentence on the bottom lane. Clyde nicely weaved there onto Jan. He just can't get forward enough to trade, and it's still level 1 on the Aphelios here. Not sure what happened in the bottom lane that prevented him from getting that XP needed, but there we go, now hits level 2 here. So Jan, at this point, will need to be a little more respectful of walking too far forward. But with the push bot side, this means that we expect Armeo to path towards the bottom river here. The scuttle is spawning. Oh, with the marks on the top scuttle.
Honestly, though, Armeo has really gotten the best of this matchup, and at least early, and I think a lot of that actually goes to Jenkins for credit. The fact that Maddie couldn't stick around in that bot side jungle and had to hover Cozy because this matchup is going how it is, I mean, that is an issue for the side of Supernova's. Jenkins is just exerting so much pressure, having that wave frozen on Cozy, forcing him to step up and then landing favorable trades whenever he does for CS. It's going to get the early TP out of Cozy and has really prevented Maddie from stealing away more camps from Armeo's Kindred, which in turn has helped accelerate Kindred early and get her out of a point of the game where if Jarvan lands a combo on Kindred early, he can win that early matchup. 1-6 is required though for Kindred. No shot for the Jarvan. So really good early play coming out from Team Liquid Academy.
Hey, Cozy at least teleports into lane and gets a nice trade onto Jenkins, which should push Jenkins back. Maybe Cozy can get this wave to crash. Doesn't seem to be pushing it too heavily right now. But the junglers are both around the bottom side here. I don't know if Maddie realized that Armeo was slow on the scuttle take, so potentially could have looked for something with the bottom lane. Both bot lane shoved in. Tough to do that. It feels like the pressure is just so heavily on Team Liquid Academy's favor right now. Whether it's top side, whether it's a bottom lane. Speaking of top lane, Cozy again takes a rough trade from Jenkins right here, who's just playing so coy with him right now. He's just not hard committing to these fights. He's just getting these trades and backing off.
Cozy has to crash this wave and then base. We're going to have to see if Jenkins maybe prevents that, as both top laners do have black. Now Strumpist.
Ooh, almost gets a solo kill right there. If Harriet taking Ignite instead of Teleport, maybe. That could have been the angle right there, but either way, now Strumpist has to bank too. This
would be an opener for Team Liquid to go for the Dragon if they wanted to. Strumpist does have TP and should TP back to this lane, but with the bot lane priority and double resets coming in from Supernova's bot side, was maybe a window, but instead they're going to pass up on that and try and make an impact elsewhere. As I know one of the things going into this game, I caught up with Maddie beforehand, the jungler of Supernova, someone that has been with this team since the spring, where they didn't qualify for Proving Grounds. And I know that was, like, according to Maddie, of course, that is a bummer, but one of the things for Supernova is that it feels like all the work they put in for the summer wasn't wasted, is what he said. And now they have a chance for a big upset as...
Ooh, flash out of Jenkins. Maddie looks for the gank. Clyde's here too, hovering as Ayla also roamed up to the point, looking to help out the top lane. Yeah, I love the point, Cubby, but Supernova's looking to make the plays because Jenkins gets hooked again. But whoa, Ayla! with the Flash Winter's Bite Ignite. Gets first blood onto Cozy.
Looking sharp there, Ayla, as he manages to bend that Winter's Bite around the 3 members of Supernova. Takedown Cozy. Take a look at that one yet again, as Ayla looking sharp already on this Braum. This was his most played throughout the playoffs, as we talked about how Team Liquid have really started to assume this defensive identity, especially in the bot lane, that enables them to set up and attack this top side, which they can do because Jenkins has been laning so well. Yet another example of that in this game, as Jenkins has a huge lead on this Jace, and if Camille gets up early, Kangas, this matchup gets dire.
Let's take another look here. Now we get the replay. Yeah, I want to watch this from Ayla. Cozy so low. Ayla sees the angle. See how he does it. I mean, there's so many minions and other champions nearby here. Oh, he just flashes past.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Supernova have to get to work on their get down Mr. President strategy. Kind of, they let the enemy slip through there. That's not great.
You know what? He's a big guy. Braum's tough to stop in those kinds of situations. Harry now in the mid lane here. Trying to play around with Supernova. Lands the chains there onto Maddie, and Ayla's nearby too, but taking a lot of damage. Not sure about the pathing there. Strumpus just going to abuse him as he goes back towards the wave. So Harry down to half health. Maddie will help Strumpus shove this wave in. And no one's been looking at this dragon yet, but it's still on the table. But instead, Armeo is actually going for a deep invade here. He just took away that Gromp. I don't know if he got the mark for that Gromp or not, but kind of set up a line of vision around this bottom river so Supernova cannot approach down here.
I do really like how Team Liquid Academy are playing this early game, though, because with the assault they've been able to put onto the laners, especially these solo laners of Supernova, some thanks to matchups, some thanks to some great play from Jenkins, it's really pulled Maddie away from his jungle, as he has really tried to support his laners, get them out of bad situations. And now look how far ahead Armeo is in that individual matchup. As a Kindred, this is a carry jungler, and the fact that Armeo is this accelerated ahead at this game state is going to be very dangerous for Supernova as this game goes on, because Kindred and Camille do scale very well.
And if you're looking at Supernova, yeah, sure, you have Nephelius, you have the Azir as well, which can scale into the late game, but you don't want the jungler to be the one on the enemy team getting this lead, because Armeo, he's got a lot of experience behind his belt, but also this champion, if they get a free, early game, Kindred can just take over. I want to see Supernova be a little more proactive here. Try and go for some dives in the top lane. You drafted this Jace, you have this J4. Go for something early on here, because right now, they're just kind of getting bled out.
And look at how Jenkins is playing this matchup yet again. He's pulling the wave, trying to freeze it, trying to force Cozy to overextend for CS, and then just trading HP back. Cozy has not been able to break this, and will not be able to break this Herald take coming out of Team Liquid Academy either, as Armeo is going to pick up the first monster objective of the game, deny the Herald from the team with Jace, and take it for themselves.
First objective of Proving Grounds, of course, is a Herald. These teams love controlling the top side of the map, especially if you're Team Liquid Academy and you have Jenkins as your top side. Still ahead in CS as well, so Armeo's not even decelerated in the jungle because of this. Supernova have yet to find a play that's working out for them. Bit of a slow start to the series, though. Still only 1 kill on the board here as we're approaching 10 minutes into the game. With this Rift Herald picked up here, it gives Team Liquid Academy a lot of options. They can choose which lane they want to drop it in, go for those early plates, maybe even push for an early turret if they find the right opportunity.
I think where I drop that if I'm on Team Liquid Academy right now is in the top lane, because a fed Camille breaks the game plan of Supernova, right? Supernova, they want to take front-to-back 5v5s. They want to utilize Azir to feel for the Aphelios, right? Set this up so that you have these protected late-game carries on the side of Supernova. Camille breaks that with her Hextech ultimatum, with the fact that she can pretty much one-shot a carry if she gets ahead with how much damage she packs in her kit. The fact that Team Liquid not only have a gold lead, but also have it in the right place, I think is really going to set up well for them as this game starts to arrive into the mid-game, especially as we expect that first tower to be taken if the Herald's used properly by Team Liquid.
We got to keep our eyes on Jenkins' item power spike. Once that Trinity Force is completed, it's going to be a big play here for Team Liquid Academy to go through. But actually, the Dragon picked up by Team Liquid Academy in the meantime. Armeo just running the river right now. Top Rift Herald to bottom Dragon. That's the first picked up here. So gonna be a delayed dragon stack if they want to go for that. But Team Liquid Academy, it just if you're looking at the decision tree, I'm a big card game guy, so every time you play a card, it opens up a new branch. Team Liquid Academy have so many decisions that they can make right now, but Team Supernova, their decision is to go bottom lane. Teleport's coming down as well. We're gonna have a full-on team fight down here. Can Jan stay the distance from Maddie? Goes down to start off, but this is too good for Team Liquid Academy. We got more members here. They got more damage as well. And that's going to be 3-for-1 trade in favor of TLA with a double kill to Harry.
And this is something that's so small but so good from the #1 seed in this tournament. Look at Strompus' TP. It's up now, but it's down in this replay. Harry TP'd first to that lane. This is a window that Team Liquid, once they start these TPs, they know that they've timed this out. It's 2-for-1. We have the numbers advantage here. So they go for the play. A beautiful snipe from Cozy is the only reason that Supernova gets one back, as Team Liquid Academy make sure they're taking a fight with numbers, ensuring that they win this one easily, gifting the kills to the right places, and continue to put their foot down in this game, establishing themselves as a 1 seed, and establishing that this iteration of Team Liquid is not going to go out of Proving Grounds 0-4. They are here to be the tournament favorites.
And we were just talking before that play. Team Liquid Academy had gold where they wanted it in the jungle, in the top lane. Now their mid lane also very accelerated with Ludens completed. But Death lands here onto Jan. Flash is available, but lockdown flashes away. The whole team arrives to defend Jan. And Maddie will go down. Supernova were not expecting that amount of support for Jan.
I wasn't expecting that either. I should have checked the mini-map. I thought that they found a pick. Instead, Team Liquid, they're the ones that found the pick, as they have 4 members in the top lane. They were trying to play for that first turret. Stromp's going down.
Strompus. Yeah. Oh, he's flanked by Jenkins there, as Harry will get another kill. Now 3-0 on LeBlanc. It's looking rough here, Cubby.
Especially as Armeo, that Rift Herald is about to expire, and he does need to throw it down. I think he's trying to get it down in the mid lane, as they did just find a kill there. But this should be a lot of turret plates going over to the side of Team Liquid. And look at the mini-map. So far, they've only taken 1 turret plate in the bot lane. And despite that, they still have a 3k gold lead because of that decision tree, right? The decision tree for Team Liquid Academy in the early game, Kangas. Get Armeo gold. Do whatever we can to get this Kindred ahead. We're going to drop monster objectives. We're going to drop fighting, right? We're going to drop everything that we can to make sure that Armeo is set up for success. And look at how far ahead he is in this jungle matchup, as Maddie did have to play ambulance for his lanes. It didn't pay off. Instead, it just pays off into the pockets of Armeo. And this is a humongous lead for Team Liquid, something that they didn't even have in the Academy playoffs, right? In their victory run. They were averaging a gold deficit at the 15-minute mark. They won the entire event. Now they're up 4k gold in this game before 15 minutes. Dangerous version of Team Liquid we're seeing here.
I think Team Liquid are, when I asked the question at the beginning of the show, Supernova, they took down one Academy team. What can they do against Team Liquid? I think that we're seeing, okay, this is a different level of team here from Team Liquid Academy. They are popping off right now. Harry just one-shots Lynx. That is absolutely filthy LeBlanc play.
In all this, it's 4 kills over to Harry's LeBlanc, and Kangas, this game is looking rather tough for the side of Supernova. As because of the single target damage, the raw ability for Team Liquid to blow members up, it's really tough for Supernova to even lane. Do things like this is that's not even like an absurdly talented, mechanically freakish LeBlanc play. That's just being ahead in items and hitting your skill shots, and goodbye. That's a one-shot onto Aphelios. And Supernova really struggling to find footing in this first game.
Lynx now with the Immortal Shield Bow. Hopefully that won't happen again. Hopefully you can survive that onslaught. But, even in team fights, now you got to be worried about that. Like, okay, we got Varus arrows. I got a Camille trying to dive on top of me. There's a LeBlanc that can one-shot me. And I got 1 Thresh Lantern to keep me safe. I suppose you can also say the Emperor's Divide as well. But Supernova are going to be struggling here as they try and get towards that team fight that it appears they've drafted towards. So if you're in Supernova's shoes right now, looking at the next 5 minutes, what's your best case scenario here? How do you stop the bleeding Team Liquid's putting on?
There's about a minute or so where Yawn doesn't have flash. You got to go for a play and just try and start fishing for some shutdowns, right? I think that's the best call for Supernova, as Cozy is getting jumped on by Jenkins. Some of these matchups are just so sideways, so ugly for the side of Supernova because of how this early game panned out and how strongly Team Liquid was able to lane and also pressure Maddie. As Group up for
Looks
the
like we
fight.
might have a group up for a dragon fight. Maybe Supernova say, okay, let's just force the objective. 5v5 right now, but Maddie's taking a lot of damage. They get the Braum ult out. Cozy flanks here, has to flash away from Jenkins, and look at Harry! Just 1v4 pushing back. Supernova gets Emperor's Divide out of Strampus. Yeah, Supernova have to back up. They have no business contesting this dragon right now. You look at Academy, they were so close to just wiping Supernova.
It's really tough for Supernova at this point, given the fact that you are behind on the map, and we talked about how the poke from LeBlanc and Varus is very good, especially at this stage of the game. And then you throw on the fact that Harry's playing a 4-0 LeBlanc that's about to hit that second item, Cosmic Tribe, and we're going to see more things like this.
I'm just going to one-shot Strampus here as well. Flash is available on the Azir. Flashes away, but doesn't dodge the damage. Oh, but the chains miss. All right, Strampus, you get out this time. Nicely done. Now,
there.
in the bottom lane here, Jenkins diving Cozy. Armeo's here as well. And so is Ayla. Cozy all alone in the bottom lane. Feels the wrath of Team Liquid Academy. 3 members taken down.
Ayla keeping things nice and safe, landing that Braum Q, as this game for Supernova, well out of hand at this point. And Supernova coming into this, it's not like they thought this would be an easy matchup, right? Talking with Maddie, asking him about, what's it like going up against Armeo, someone who was playing in the LCS finals in the spring, nearly got Team Liquid 2 MSIs. He was subbing in for Santorin, and he's like, you know what? Obviously, Armeo's one of the best junglers in the tournament, right? Like, we have a tough task ahead of us going up against Team Liquid, but we're used to being underdogs. We were underdogs when we took down CLG and Maryville. We know we're going to be underdogs going into this match. We feel like we have a chance. Great to hear from Supernova. This first game, though, definitely going Team Liquid's way, as that chain from Harry, so close to being fancy, taking out Strampus. Just able to edge it out.
And that's the thing about Supernova. I kept doubting them throughout UGP as well. I kept saying, okay, no, CLG Academy favored to win. I'm predicting them. Oh, no, I'm predicting Maryville to win. And every time I predicted against Supernova, they would surprise me. I think they still have more of the tank here, but this game one, it's gotten a little out of their hands right now. As we see, they're just struggling to deal with the damage that Harry's putting out here. They're struggling to deal with Jenkins in the side lane as well. Like you've been saying, maybe try and punish Jan for not having the flash. They didn't find that window, so at this point, I guess it's just try and get to any semblance of a late game that you can, and that hope that your team fighting will kind of carry you through it, because I don't really see them winning this through any semblance of a side lane.
It's so tough because not only can you not win through the side lane because of how fed Jenkins is on Camille, but also if you try and group up for monster objectives, you have to engage a fight just like what Maddie was trying to do there immediately, because if you wait, you face the poke, the wrath of this LeBlanc and Varus. Supernova can't answer that, so that's why we saw them trying to force that fight so quickly. I think it was the right call from them. They're just too far behind at this point. And have to see if they can find any footing, find any play. Maybe it's going to come off the back
teleporting top lane.
Strampus, yeah. Okay, here we go.
Cozy's going for it. Trying to catch Harry here. Very mobile on this champion. Cataclysm goes through, but the damage should be enough. The burn! Shut down, picked up by Maddie. Nicely done from Supernova. They will lose this tier 2 bottom turret for it, so pretty rough trade, but still, at least they execute a play and they pull it off.
Good attempts coming out from SN. I think they were hoping that someone would hover Harry and maybe they could pick up another. That's not the case, and Jenkins on this Camille is able to just rip through turrets if given time alone in the side lane like he was there. So Supernova, at least they find something proactive on the map, Kangas. At least they are able to take something back as... Cozy.
Getting teleported on here.
Yep.
Jenkins, 2 items completed here. Divine Sunder with the Ravenous Hydra. Cozy, all right, let's see how he does this. Can he survive long enough? As a teleport coming in here, Maddie's nearby as well. Jenkins, hookshots back forward. Strampus getting out damage, but Harry says, I'm the raid boss. Shuffled back towards the turret. It blinks back to safety. The distortion used. Team Liquid Academy don't find the kills. And they committed 2 teleports for that play.
Means no TPs for the Dragon, so maybe Supernova can overcommit here. Maybe TL decide to play the side lanes. They can find favorable numbers for themselves. No TPs are on the map, but still I think that's an advantage for TL because they have the ability with the LeBlanc, with the Camille, to stretch out the map, to play through these side lanes where they should have that advantage, especially with how far ahead those solo laners are. We're going to have to see. TLA, they do have options as they are the team ahead. by a wide margin, and I'm curious to see what they prioritize to play this out, as so far the game plan has been funneling Armeo, playing out the 3 lanes as well as they can, but they do have the option to group everyone up in the bot river with the poke of Varus and the block and play for that soul point, and it looks like that's the decision that TLA is making right now.
15 seconds till that dragon spawns, and already Team Liquid Academy, even Harry's getting some poke in here. Just, peppering Supernova with these cooldowns, so that way Supernova don't have health or full health bars when they approach. That's going to make Eon even more dangerous. I don't think Supernova can start up this Baron. They don't have attack speed on Strumpus yet, so while, yeah, sure, Leandri's burn will help there, they don't have the consistent DPS, so they're just getting vision priority on the top. Strumpus will push that out. I guess Supernova are just giving up the dragon, giving up the mid turret here. They're not going to contest for this next objective, not feeling confident enough to take the fight.
Without teleports, I feel like, I guess they don't have the tools. They'd rather play the 3 lanes to try and get gold, but props to Team Liquid. Besides grouping up for that river control, once they realized they had it, they did send Harry bot to pick up a wave that was crashed by Strumpus, so Team Liquid still not dropping anything on the map, and if there's anything that we've learned from this game 1, King, it is that we thought this would be a scary version of Team Liquid. I think that the community sentiment is that they are the tournament favorites, and what a statement from them. Is I know that talking with Harry that winning Proving Grounds, doing well in Proving Grounds would mean a little bit more to them, to this team, given the fact that they did not show up the way they wanted to in the spring, as they did take an early exit in the tournament. This has been a dominant Team Liquid in Game 1, and no early exits are even being thought of for the performance the Team Liquid are bringing to the stage in this one.
This is not the Team Liquid that dropped to an Academy team in the upper bracket in their first round of spring. This is a different level of Team Liquid Academy, as they're looking to dive the top turret right now. Harry jumping forward. The extra damage! Oh my god! Absolutely insane damage to Supernova. They find a re-engage here. Lanterns fight down from Armeo. Maddie's in there. Lanterns to safety, but Ayla blocking up all the damage from the follow-up of Supernova, so they don't find anything. That's Lamster's fight down, but I think the Team Liquid have bought enough time. Jenkins has joined in now. X-Egg ultimatum onto Lynx. Has to flash away with the shield bow popped as well. So Supernova limping to safety, and Harry picks one up on the back end. Cozy goes down. That's 2 picked up here for Team Liquid.
Might be a Baron start, considering the fact that Cozy did die late. Now Cozy does have TP. This is a little bit risky for the side of Team Liquid, as... Oh, no, it's a full reset. Never mind. They got this. Team Liquid continue to drive this game forward, continue to drive this game ahead. This should be the first Baron going over to them, as Maddie is being poked off.
Was an 8k gold lead. Harry could be in some trouble here. LeBlanc very low on health, has to flash to safety. Maddie seemingly chasing down, but now Death Sentence lands under Armeo. Clyde has to flash though, did not realize. Okay, maybe that's not the fight. Ayla could be sacrificed here, but still taking up to survive. Maddie goes down.
Cozy.
Jenkins and Armeo just goon squatting. Cozy teleports in straight to his death, but he will get one. That's Ayla down. Gonna link some Strumpus survive. The shuffle comes out, but a double kill for Jan. Strumpus, the only member from Supernova to survive. Team Liquid Academy are making a statement in this game 1.
I think Supernova realized this game, it's in bad shape for them, but it's getting even further out of control. They thought maybe post-Baron, since health bars were kind of low, since cooldowns have been used across the Rift the last few minutes, they could come up with some sort of miracle fight. But Team Liquid, they shut that down. They say no, and it's off the back of Harry. 6-1 on this LeBlanc pick, Kangas. The first pick LeBlanc, mind you. Harry showing why they have such a high priority on his most played throughout the Academy playoffs and the Academy regular season split.
And again, Harry, his lane opponent here is Strumpus, mainstay in the amateur scene. He's been on Supernova for quite a while. Actually played on the same roster with Jenkins and Tactical, as you had mentioned. So going up against one of his old teammates here. And Harry just having a fantastic laning phase, getting out of lane here, impacting these side lanes. Like, Harry's just so active on this pick. It makes me think that Supernova going into game 2, you got to start respecting Harry right now, because the resurgence of this player in the second half of the summer, post-playoffs, has been absolutely a pleasure to watch.
And the Azir LeBlanc matchup, definitely something that Harry isn't able to do, dominating these sides, because you take Azir into LeBlanc, really not for the lane dominance. You take it so that if you get ahead in team fights, maybe you're able to zone the block out of a fight with your soldiers, or make things more difficult for the block to go in. But in a side lane, you can never really contest the LB. And Harry, in these side lanes, has just been finding kill after kill, just getting to a point where he is out of control on this LeBlanc. And then when you throw in the fact that when Azir groups, he's going to be outranged by Varus, which, keep in mind, Season 5, Season 6, Varus mid was an old-school counter to Azir. So that early pick Azir, I really like the draft that TL was actually put around it. It's really punished a pick that Strompus does rely on rather heavily, and really appreciate the scouting from Team Liquid going into this match. It feels like they came up with a really good strategy for this game one.
The strategy is paying off right now as they get that top inhibitor. And look at Jenkins pressuring the Nexus turrets right now with the wave. Still Baron buff, powering them up. Flash forward by Strompus. They caught out Armeo, but they didn't kill fast enough. Lander's fight goes down. Ayla's here. No way. Is Armeo going to survive this? Cataclysm for the dunk gets the kill, but Harry's joined in now. And Supernova, they found a small window where they can maybe out-execute, but Harry's making it so difficult for them. Death sentence lands. Harry's down. Supernova have finally shut down this pesky LeBlanc, but Jenkins is just ripping their base to shreds.
I feel like we need like the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme for Jenkins, who's just kind of hanging out, playing his own thing, taking down these inhibitors, as Camille sticking to what the champion does best, that is side laning. And Jenkins managing to get top lane inhibitor for himself, and nearly that bottom lane will be the retreat for Infernal Soul. Appreciate the fact that Supernova is punching back. They are trying to fight back, but this is an insurmountable lead at this point.
That Soul picked up for Team Liquid Academy, plus their 14,000 gold lead, 60-5 on the scoreboard. They just got to walk these waves in and breathe on these turrets. They're going to be going down here. Supernova, you got to put their heads back to the drawing board, figure out how do we approach draft for game number 2 here. And also our earlier game decision making. I still think that there's a lot that they could be looking at early on into this game. Yes, the early game, the level 1 invade, put Maddie on the back foot, and Armeo did a fantastic job capitalizing on that. So maybe just play a little more defensive with your vision at that level 1. But here, let's get a replay, because this was the angle where Supernova, maybe they could find something in this game.
But we also see the issues of, Zero going in first and not using that Emperor's Divine after the Emperor's fight comes down. Now, to Strompus' credit, he does have to go for this play, right? At this point, this is the play that you have to make, but it's a beautiful Chains of Corruption from Yawn to lock him in place, and even going golden doesn't save him from his inevitable doom for starting off that fight. Nice death sentence. Shout out to Clyde finding Harry there. That does at least grant Supernova a little bit of gold, a little bit of reprieve, as they did manage to secure that shutdown, but back to the status quo. Varus at this 3-item spike is too much to deal with for the low-range composition of Supernova. We can see how much work those piercing arrows are doing in this siege scenario.
He has to go back to Fountain to heal up. Supers will crash in the top wave. So Supernova are just going to give up all of their inhibitors now. Team Liquid Academy, they can look to end the game right here. They just need to wait for the next waves to come in, and honestly just use their insane gold lead to just dive under these Nexus turrets. Yeah. They're not even going to be providing that much safety for Supernova right now. Corruption lands on the link. Strompus just deleted off the map. So with no Azir, Supernova, they can mount the last vestige of a defense, but Team Liquid with these super minions will walk in these waves. Clyde going for the hook, does land onto Armeo. He's blown up, but look at this flank here from Jenkins. Camille onto the back line, and Supernova are just getting shredded to pieces right now. Team Liquid Academy game here for revenge, the redemption tour from Spring Proving Grounds. They will go up 1-0 in this series to start off summer. Well done from Team Liquid Academy. They do not want a repeat of Spring.
And what a Game 1 performance from Harry, 9-2-4 on this LeBlanc. Controlling the game at all states. Also shout out to Ayla, who I think had some fantastic roams in this one. And that is what the first seed versus the 16 seed should look like in a tournament. Team Liquid really stepping up, establishing themselves that this time around, we are the tournament favorites and we are here to play. We are here to stay. As that Game 1 only went one direction, and that was the direction of getting on top of that horse and chasing that trophy.
That was the direction of wherever Armeo decided to go at that particular moment. Because that Kindred pretty much uncontested. That level 1, I want to go all the way back to that just to kind of give our thoughts of, first of all, the prep that Team Liquid Academy obviously put into that kind of play with this kind of draft. You mentioned a double range with the Braum, just pushing the J4 off of that first camp. And then also, what does Supernova need to do to make sure that that doesn't happen again?
I think that for Supernova, I really want to credit Team Liquid, that strategy and the scouting they did. The Azir and Aphelios, these are champions that Supernova have relied upon to find team fight victories, which is really their forte, what did get them here. But when you throw the Blanc and Varus into that duo, and you are able to get ahead, which you should be able to do from the laning phase, it gets so difficult for Azir and Aphelios to function because they're going to be permanently outranged by both Varus and the Blanc. And we saw that at the end of the game. Yes, it was a massive gold lead, but still how difficult it is for those two champions to be piloted into the counters that Team Liquid were able to throw out. And I think that Team Liquid came up with a really good game plan, executed it very well, and outplayed Supernova. So this is what we expected out of the tournament favorites, but here's to see if Supernova can maybe go back to the shed, come up with a different strategy, and come back fighting, because they will not go down without a fight. They have been the underdogs. They have had upsets that requires a lot of mental fortitude from them to even just qualify for this tournament in that last spot. So I want to see if Supernova can kind of show that side of them.
They're going to have to bounce back during this break, which we will be sending to before game number 2. Team Liquid Academy, the number 1 seed Academy team in the tournament, going up against the heart of amateur in Supernova. We're sending it to break, but we'll be back right after this.